Accountability and delegation. These aren't just buzzwords you hear in nursing school. They're the absolute bedrock of safe professional practice. They're what determines how care gets delivered and, crucially, who answers for it when all is said and done. So let's dive right in and unpack what this all really means for every single nurse out there. So, just to get a sense of the scale we're talking about here, look at this number, 880,000. That's a huge number, right? Well, that's how many professionals the Nursing and Midwifery Council, the NMC, regulates right here in the UK. And every single one of them, all 880,000, operates under the exact same framework of accountability. And what's at the very heart of that entire framework? It all boils down to this one simple, incredibly powerful mission: to protect the public. That's it. That's the North Star for the NMC. Every rule, every standard, every single piece of guidance they issue, it's all designed to do just that one thing. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. We'll start with the core duty, then get into some key definitions. After that, we'll touch on the legal framework, explore what makes delegation an art, and finally, we'll wrap up with a super practical tool called the 5 rights. All right, first up, a nurse's core duty. See, when we throw around the word accountability, we've got to ask a really important question. Who exactly is a nurse accountable to? And believe me, the answer is a little more complex than you might first think. This is where it gets really interesting. Accountability isn't just one thing. It's like you're being pulled in 4 different directions at once. You've got the public, and that's covered by criminal law. Then you've got your specific patient, which falls under civil law. You're also accountable to the entire profession through the NMC's code. And, of course, you're accountable to your employer through your contract. Think about that. A single action you take could be looked at from 4 completely different angles, each with its own set of rules and, its own consequences. Okay, so building on that idea, let's jump into our next section. We're going to tackle 2 words that get mixed up all the time, but in a clinical setting, they mean wildly different things. I'm talking about responsibility versus accountability. And trust me, getting this right is non-negotiable. And this lays it out perfectly. The easiest way to think about it is like this. Responsibility is the doing. It's the actual task at hand, right? Like, your responsibility is to give the medication. But accountability, that's the owning. It's answering for the final outcome. After the task is done, it's you standing up and explaining what happened and why, whether it went right or wrong. So what are the rules that govern all this? Well, a nurse's practice isn't just about following professional codes. Oh no, it's actually built on a solid foundation of law. So let's take a quick look at this legal web that every nurse has to navigate every single day. And look, this is just a tiny sample, kind of the tip of the iceberg, really, but it shows you the sheer weight of the legal framework we're talking about. You've got the Health and Safety at Work Act, the Mental Capacity Act. These aren't just helpful suggestions. These are actual acts of Parliament that draw the legal lines in the sand for patient care. They place very specific duties on every single nurse. Which brings us to one of the most crucial skills a nurse ever develops: delegation. And you know what? It really is an art form. This isn't just about passing off a task to get it off your plate. No way. It's a complex clinical decision that takes some serious professional judgment. So what is it technically? Well, the official definition says it's the assignment of authority to another person to carry out a specific activity. And the key word there, the one you really need to focus on, is authority. You're not just handing over a task, you're literally entrusting someone with the authority to act on your behalf. That's a big deal. Okay, so that leads us to probably the single biggest question in this whole explainer. You delegate a task to a colleague, something goes wrong. Who is ultimately accountable for the outcome? Is it you, or is it the person who actually did the task? And here's the answer, straight from the NMC itself. Nurses remain accountable for the decision to delegate. Let's let that sink in. The person you delegate to, they are responsible for doing the task properly, but you remain accountable for the decision to delegate it to them in the first place. You own that decision, period. So, if you own the decision, how on earth do you make sure you're making a good one every single time? Well, that brings us to our final section, and it's a super practical toolkit. Think of it as your go-to safety checklist for delegation. It's called the 5 rights. This process is just so brilliant and simple. It's basically 5 questions you have to ask yourself. 1, is this the right task? Can it even be delegated? 2,
is this the right circumstance? Is the patient stable? 3, and this one is huge, is this the right person? Are they competent? Are they trained? 4, did I give the right direction and communication? Is it crystal clear what needs to be done? And finally, 5, do I have the right supervision and evaluation in place? A plan to check back in. If you nail these 5 rights, you protect your patient, you protect your colleague, and you protect yourself.
So let's end with this. A question to really think about. Accountability isn't some heavy burden. It's the signature of a true professional. And delegation, it's not just about getting things off your to-do list. It's a profound act of professional judgment and trust. So the question you have to ask yourself every time is, are you just assigning tasks, or are you truly mindfully delegating with care?